I'm about to dig up the corpse of one of the most problematic yet enigmatic villains of the D&D space. He's the subject of one of the most divisive games in the TTRPG space, yet at the same time forgotten, nearly a footnote in Dungeons & Dragons itself. He's got some problems, but we're gonna fix them, and at the end I'll have a little surprise waiting for both player and DM alike. Hi everyone, I'm Willowares, your resident creepy TTRPG tuber, and I'm about to tackle the villain that D&D forgot, Bluebeard. So let's weekend at Bernie's this old dusty dude and see what we can cook up. Oh, and also we're gonna put him in fairy tale. Our investigation has to begin with the legend itself. I'll be quick so we can get to the rotten meat of things, but essentially, Bluebeard is from a real touching grass earth folklore. He's not a D&D original, in fact, he's something even more sinister. French. Just kidding, France. J'adore la pomme de terre. They're gonna hate me for that. Like any fairy tale, it has some variations in the details, but the base structure always remains the same. A girl marries a rich nobleman who sports a particularly vibrant blue beard, who brings her to his expansive home, usually a castle or a manor, and then he has to go on a business trip. He's been unlucky in love once again for reasons that vary depending on who tells the tale. There's some adaptations out there that paint him as a fairly aggressive guy.
I have come for my bride. If you stand in my way, I'll have your head as well as your sharp tongue. I'll be waiting outside. Do not tarry, Rachel.
Jeez Louise, buddy, yeah, let's close that door. And yet there are others where he charms the bride and her family into a feeling of safety. Either way, he says, baby, feel free to wander around while I'm gone, but do not go into this very suspicious room. It's usually the basement. This key, he adds, giving her a very magical golden cool key, definitely opens up this room that you cannot open, by the way, but please have it. Then he leaves to go be a consultant or whatever he does for his day job. So what that does, our protagonist do what do?
What would you do if when you're okay, so he said yes would go? I don't know what you mean there, babes.
So what does our protagonist do? Well, she tries to listen. Lots of variations on this story will talk about her flitting through the castle and admiring all the riches Bluebeard has amassed. But then, eventually, she does what anyone would do. She opens the door that she shouldn't. It drums up Sleeping Beauty being lured towards the spindle, or Belle from Beauty and the Beast finally peeking into the West Wing. But this is not Beauty and the Beast, or Sleeping Beauty, or any of those really. And this is where it deviates from your regular love story. Most descriptions of the Forbidden Room of Bluebeard are surprisingly short but very visceral. Blood is described as so abundant that it just doesn't stain, it covers the floor, sometimes in a flood, and there in the room are the bodies of all the women who have come before. The key is stained with blood, and the terrified bride can't wipe off the evidence, and Bluebeard returns almost immediately as if summoned by the key itself. He knows that she's been in the Forbidden Room. What happens next to our protagonist also varies. Sometimes she gets away, other times not so lucky. And as far as what the story is trying to say, I think often about an article from Chloe Clark about the subject. Quote, people often interpret it as a tale about the morality of curiosity. Do what your husband tells you and this will never happen to you. Except, even if the heroine of Bluebeard had never opened that door, had never seen all those bodies of previous wives, she still would have been married to a man who will kill a wife and keep her body because she doesn't follow one of his arbitrary rules. Unquote. But Willow, you say, very demurely and hopefully kindly in the comments, and not a mean way. That's not D&D. I mean, this villain is really cool and his storyline has the perfect amount of flexibility for a short campaign or a one-shot, a mini-boss that still has incredible aura that would make my players so happy, and even a good quest item with a key in a dungeon because you're going around his house, but Bluebeard isn't in D&D. Well, here's the crazy thing. He actually is. He's here. He's arrived. Here comes the boy. Bluebeard. Welcome. It's just the guy chopping up all the bodies in the basement. But before we fully walk on down into the basement, I'd like to take a minute to say thank you to a returning sponsor for Willowares. World Anvil is the one-stop shop to build and organize your world online. I summon game master, player, writer, artist, game designer, plotter, time traveler, or even a hobbyist? Well, World Anvil will have a tool for you. I use World Anvil personally, mostly to organize characters, places, and all the granular details for my games, because it's not only nice to have it all in one place that I can access, even if if I'm not at home, but have it laid out in a clear wiki style format that my players can understand. And believe it or not, I have a super secret Will-O-Wisp wiki where I've been slowly compiling the hidden lore that I've slipped into past videos and plotting out when the new adventures will come. For example, I've used the Chronicle feature to plot out when that pesky statue in the back started talking to me, though I can't quite figure out what it's saying. Now, creating an account is free, but if you'd like, the folks at World Anvil have been generous enough to give me a coupon code for all of you to use for a full 51% off. That's right, use code WILLOW for 51% off any yearly membership to World Anvil, any one. Just scroll down to the link in the description below and check it out. And thanks again to World Anvil for supporting the channel. It means a lot. But don't feel bad that you don't know about Bluebeard already making an appearance in D&D. Take a gander online if you're looking for any Bluebeard content, and you'll see plenty of posts of newcomers asking if you could put Bluebeard in D&D, theoretically, because he totally doesn't exist in any capacity in there already. How would you do it? That's the nature of a game that's been around for a while. So let's see how they actually did it, and where they might have fallen a bit short. Our journey now takes us to Ravenloft, specifically the Domains of Dread. Side note, I've always loved the design work in this book, the typeface, the illustrations, it's so cute, you know, it's so cute.
So cute! So cute!
Anyways, Bluebeard makes an appearance here in the Sea of Sorrows section. Write down the time it took for you to say that 10 times fast, and I'll like your comment below. With Bluebeard lording over the island of Blaustein. It has the same basic framing story of how he came to be, but now he's expanded his bloody castle to a cozy timeshare on an island in the Sea of Sorrows. But what's interesting about this particular version of Bluebeard that gets expanded upon slightly in the Ravenloft Dark Lord accessory book is that he's framed with an obsession around loyalty, and the world punishes him for this. So a little twist on the original story, he's obsessed with people remaining loyal to him, yes, but so much so that the ghosts of his slain brides now assist him in battle, loyal after death. This Bluebeard also hates being at home, and he hates to gaze upon any of the women of Blaustein. It's a sort of curse that he's repulsed by them. He doesn't see a new beautiful bride, instead he sees a rotting corpse, and this rightly grosses him out and keeps him from staying in one place for very long. However, he must return to his castle every 3 nights to sleep, which is awfully convenient if you're an adventuring party, where he is held yet haunted by these ghostly women. It's an interesting reframing of the tale, a sort of implying that Bluebeard is tormented by these women that ironically have become exactly what he wanted, loyal to the end. And now he's got more powers too. To quote the book, Bluebeard has the ability to charm, but that does not account for the fanatic loyalty of his folk. They cannot remember anything he wants them to forget. Ravenloft has granted him this power, although it affects only the natives of Blastoise. To me, an uncanny ability to charm presiding over a loyal court of denizens, paired with the Apple AirTag of a bloody key, Bluebeard almost takes a Fey-like villain role to me. And this is where the giant foreshadowing kind of like spins around and does a flip and like does something really cool, like bakes a chicken or something. But this is where the trail runs a bit cold, at least in an official capacity. I won't get into every mention of Bluebeard in relation to Ravenloft here, but no, he's been incarnated in D&D, and from what I can tell, this is the biggest official Bluebeard slice of pie we've gotten so far. But I have high hopes for the near future. Ravenloft, The Horrors Within just revealed that gorgeous new cover. I really do have my fingers crossed that we will see our bearded bridegroom done up and done right when it officially releases. So that's Ravenloft. We'll be waiting outside, arms stretched, hoping against hope that our blue babadee guy will be waiting for us. But that doesn't really explain what I mentioned in the beginning, that whole most divisive game thing. Sure, Ravenloft's repackaging of Bluebeard makes him even more villainy, if that's possible, but surely we've seen worse. And yes, my dear viewers, we absolutely have. I would, of course, be a silly Billy if I didn't talk about one of the most enticing incarnations of Bluebeard ever, and that is Bluebeard's bride. This is a game that breaks my heart and is also completely enrapturing me at the same time. It's a game that runs on the Powered by the Apocalypse system. For those unfamiliar with that, to simplify, this is a game that uses quite a bit less dice and math and a lot more collaborative storytelling. If you're someone that's really into weird game settings, there's a chance that the Powered by the Apocalypse system has a setting for you. Like, you can play Avatar: The Last Airbender, or wrestling, there's a wrestling one, or Molgoths versus the Visigoths. I'm not even kidding, that is actually one. It's crazy. But the standout one to me is Bluebeard's Bride. Full disclosure, I wanted to make a video just about this game and do a playthrough with my friends and show you guys, but half of it I can't put on YouTube. I just can't. This game has a trauma meter, not figuratively. Essentially, your party sort of pilots Bluebeard's latest bride like a doomed, lace-adorned Voltron, each player taking control of an aspect of the bride's personality. You travel through the castle confronting unspeakable things to see how loyal you are to your tormentor, if he will doom you to the bloody fate of so many before you, or even maybe, just maybe, an escape. It's a deeply uncomfortable game that is chock full of the lines and veils that are very commonly forbidden in normal games. You cannot roll into the game store and ask a bunch of strangers if they want to play this with you, but it is a brilliant examination of what it's like to be trapped, the things we must do to escape. And it's also about control. Control in the sense that you have a creepy dude with a bad dye job trying to gaslight you into not looking into the owner's closet that appears to be leaking viscera, but more importantly, other people are also controlling your character. The table has to work together to make concessions, relinquish and reclaim control as they confront the horrors of the castle. If you do have a group that can play it with, read it through to see if it's right for you and try it. It's a highly awarded game for a reason, and it's living proof to me that this is a villain that has so much potential that I cannot just leave him in the past. Essentially, what we've learned from Bluebeard's Bride and the version we met in Ravenloft is this. Bluebeard is a story about curiosity and control. That is what makes him an ideal villain for D&D. Curiosity, a through line in many TTRPGs, is the hinge on which the story of Bluebeard swings. Telling a party that they can't open a door is like catnip to them, and that is what Bluebeard's all about. And control, entire campaign arcs are based on shrugging off people or systems that hold sway over you. Hey, look at Baldur's Gate. Half of the characters are not only trying to get out from underneath the thumb of a powerful force, say a goddess or a vampire lord, but also trying to make the choice that the relationship is actually bad for them. So for our baby Bluebeard, let's pump up those themes of control and curiosity. And more importantly, I feel like the Ravenloft setting just scratches the surface of what type of villain Bluebeard could be. Take a look at his stat block here. To me, there's some cool stuff, but it's also lacking. The practically teleporting, charming, knows when you lie, and has a ghost army of unfortunate souls that shield him from harm is actually a pretty basic fighter at his core. While I think this absolutely is appropriate in the context of Ravenloft, so many baddies that you can barely turn around without smacking an evil overlord in the face, I would like to see how we at Willowares HQ can make Bluebeard stand out just a little bit more. And, well, we can't ignore the giant glittery pink winged elephant in the room, can we? That's right, everyone, it's Monster Week Fey Edition. This is an event ran by Pointy Hat and Ginny D that brings the community together. Everyone in the comments, please type thank you to Ginny and Antonio for putting this together. It's a great way for creators to get extra viz. I know last year it certainly helped out my channel a lot. Last year we did dragons, and I was able to introduce Marrow, our creepy dragon. So while D&D 2 will be a flurry of hags, redcaps, and other delights, I wanted to join in on the fun. And over here we're gonna be getting a strong northeasterly brownie breeze, and then we've got some warm hags. Oh god, that's so gross. Warm hags coming up from the south. Bluebeard speaks to me as a villain that could do so well in the Feywild. He's a fairy tale, after all, presides over a court, has incredibly Fey-like rules, and while I think it's cool Ravenloft made him a fighter, I feel like he needs to lean a little more into the magic side of things. I mean, to be honest, I already made a more martial-focused Fey boss before. After all, this would be kind of cheating if I pulled the same move twice, and I think you guys would call me out on it. And hey, like any good Fey villain, let's make a court that he can brood over that matches the different aspects of his personality. Wow, this realm, it's so brutal. Oh, I can't say that. Anyways, as we established from my previous video, the Feywild is a perfectly creepy, dark setting for our villain. It kind of feels like this is the part of the video that you should settle in, relax, and hopefully enjoy this creepy tale. Softly, sweetly down the hall, pretty bride in ribbons tall, golden key tied round a thread. Mind the door, her husband said. Room to room the lady goes, counting silks and jewels in rows, but curious thought, thin and small, there is one key that fits no wall. Golden key and golden lock, ticking like a hidden clock. Just a glance, the young bride said. Just a glance, then right to bed. Creaking hinges whisper low. Something waits where none should go. Pitter-patter in candlelight, shadows bloom in sudden sight. Red, red, red upon the floor, red that seeps neath golden door. Sisters silent, pale, and still, waiting there against their will. Scrub the key and scrub it fast. Water runs blue, but the stain lasts red. Golden key, oh, sharply dressed. Clutched tight to the poor bride's chest. Footsteps echo down the hall, suddenly all blue, then none at all. White and gold, now red and dead. Mind the door, the husband said. Bluebeard is a villain centered on manipulation, charming, and reveals. A master of his domain, Bluebeard prefers to fight in the cursed halls of the Court of Doors, a strange slice of the Fey realm that seems to impossibly weave from one end of the Feywild to the other, compressing time and space. His keys, magically imbued with a fraction of his power, are both a weak point and his strength. They allow the wielder to move throughout his castle, but because it contains a piece of his power, Bluebeard is always aware of where the keys are, should they ever be used. At his call is a court of strange ghostly servants, and stranger still, howls of vengeful spirits that can be heard from the lower levels of the castle. Will they be friend or foe? It's up to the party to defeat Lord Bluebeard and lay to rest the souls that wander his halls, or risk being trapped in his castle forever. And hey, we did it! And for you, for free, I've got a handy stat block of Bluebeard himself. I took some inspiration from the older Ravenloft books and took the time to write a little more flavor than what's in the traditional 5th edition stat blocks. I hope you don't mind. And thanks again to our lovely organizers of Monster Week. Please make sure to check out all the playlist guides that are posted for this event so you can discover all the cool creators that participated this year. I know I will be. And for my lovely patrons, if you aren't a DM, don't worry, I've got you covered. I've released an extremely special magic item, Bluebeard's Key, which should come in handy if you ever find yourself in need of a door. I didn't write a goodbye. Well, what should I say? Alright everybody, have a good day. Don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to noblemen that want to marry you and take you to their house and give you random sets of key rings. Goodbye! Goodbye!